Ever heard of the phrase, too much, too soon? That's definitely what happened here. I wasn't prepared for a relationship or having the most firsts happen all at once. But it did, and that's what caused this relationship to crash and burn almost instantly. It was my freshman year in high school, and for the most part, you could find me in the band room. We were all getting prepared for our biggest concert of the year, Slam, which basically had us using props and marching. It was usually a success, and a lot of people would want to come out and watch. We were doing practice runs when I noticed the AV club was in the auditorium setting up cameras. There was this one guy in particular that stood out to me, and he seemed to have a lot of friends in the band. One in particular being my good friend, let's call him Mark. Mark called me over where they were all talking, and this guy was going on about how he loved Final Fantasy and Kingdom Hearts, along with some anime that I've been watching recently. It got me interested pretty quickly. We had a brief conversation, and I felt pretty comfortable talking around the guy. I of course was thinking he'd be a possible great fit for a first boyfriend. Later, Mark came up to me and one of my best friends in the band. Let's call her Violet, inviting us to go out to the infamous Wendy's with him and the group that we were talking to earlier. Excitedly, I wanted to go, hoping that maybe this guy was interested in me too. Violet agreed, and after practice, we headed out to Wendy's. We got into Mark's car, which Violet always thought she was going to die in, cause Mark was definitely a crazy driver. He'd often even speed on purpose to give her a heart attack while letting out a psychotic laugh. It was definitely one of those memories I'll always remember. I then decided to tell Mark that I had a little budding crush on the dude from earlier, in hopes to get some info out of him. Mark smiled and was like, "Ooh, he's single. His name is Devin." He rummaged on and on about random facts about him, saying he thinks we'd be a good match. That he was a good guy, that was a family man, was more of a father to his younger sisters, enjoyed anime, and had a great sense of humor. Then at the end of all of his rambling about the guy who I was starting to definitely become more and more interested in, he added on that he was a senior. My heart immediately dropped. There was no way in heck that this guy would want to date me. I was a freshman, an inexperienced one at that. What senior would want to date a freshman? We pulled up to Wendy's, where the other group was already inside. We ordered our meals, and of course Mark grabs a hold of Devin, telling him to come sit at our table. The rest of the group sat behind us, making us the obnoxious loud bunch in the place. I was definitely one of those high schoolers I would now glare at when I walk into a fast food joint. Ooh, the cringe. Anywho, conversation flows naturally. There's no awkwardness, which is great. Everyone is getting along and talking about random things we like. Mark takes the opportunity to go to the bathroom while Violet turns around to talk to the others at the table behind us, leaving me and Devin to lead a conversation on our own, which surprisingly just keeps going. He asks about my classes, what teachers I have, laughs about some of the terrible ones I got. Time goes on and I notice he's only been asking questions about me. Mark returns to the table and my phone goes off with my mother calling. I don't answer, I know what she's going to say. "Where the heck are you?" I sigh, stuffing my phone back in my pocket, getting up and saying I have to go. He smiles, saying he needs to get going too, and that he'll see me at rehearsal tomorrow. Mark takes me home where he asks, "Well, still interested?" "Yeah, but I mean, he's a senior, he clearly won't see me that way." Mark makes a noise and doesn't say anything. The next day at practice, I see Devin wave to me from the hallway. I wind up walking over and we end up talking for a while in the hallway. He then gets called away to take care of some video equipment, to where I realize I have to get back to practice. After it ends, Violet comes up to me and says, "You think anything's going to happen?" "I don't know." "Well, he did come over to talk to you." "True." Before I knew it, he found out where my locker was. My other two friends, Anne and Penny, met him and started giving me these faces that I know all too well. It started to become a daily ritual to find him outside my locker. He'd walk with me to my first class, then part ways for the rest of the day. "He totally likes you." and smirked. I didn't believe it though. I thought it too good to be true.
Soon he'd start going to my locker after classes were over. He asked whereabout I lived and I told him downtown. He lit up, saying he had to walk down the 12th Street to get his sisters from daycare. He then began to walk me partway home, talking about nothing in particular, but it was something I looked forward to every day. I wasn't used to someone giving me this much attention before, and he seemed to hang on every word I said. He'd remember too. Every day I practiced for slam, he'd wave at me as he fixed the cameras. I even noticed him staring at me, and when I'd catch him, he'd flash a smile and embarrassingly go back to what he was doing. Mark then came up to me and said, "You know how you said he wouldn't date a freshman?" "Yeah?" I asked him and he said he doesn't care as long as there's chemistry there. Even though the signs were obvious that he was clearly into me, I still just couldn't believe it. Slam rolls around and he comes into the band room to talk to me. "You're doing great," he says. "I'll be cheering you on out there." I go to the stage with the biggest smile on my face. I see him out in the crowd recording us, to which he comes up to record me several times. People were noticing how he would always float back to me, giving the band room some hot gossip to talk about, where of course you'd hear the whispers, but then it'd silence really quickly when I'd walk by. Yeah, I know what you guys were talking about.
Slam was a success. Devin pulls me aside in the hallway, giving me a hug. "You did great. You're definitely gonna make section leader one day." I was a bit shocked by the sudden affection, but was happy for it nonetheless. The air begins to thicken and we wind up staring at each other. I could feel my heart pounding. This was going to be my first kiss. I can feel the tension in the air. It was going to happen. His face was slowly inching towards mine. That's when the color guard girls round the corner shouting loudly about how great Slam went, totally ruining the moment. We jolt away from the other, making the situation awkward. I should get going. My family is here and they are probably looking for me. I can see the disappointment in his face as I walk away. The next day, to my surprise, he wasn't waiting at my locker. Sadly, I started feeling a pang of guilt. Should I have just stayed and went for it? Did I let my nerves get the best of me and now there's no chance for us? As I open my locker, a note falls out. In it is written, "Hey Pinkley, after school, can you just make sure we're alone? I have something I really want to tell you. Don't worry, it's nothing bad, but I need to say something. Devin." Oh god, this was it. Was he going to finally tell me? I stuffed the note in my pocket, leaving my head in the clouds for the rest of the day. After school, he's waiting outside for me. He looks nervous. I'm sure I look nervous. I slowly walk my way up to him, trying to make light of the situation. "So, what's so serious, loser?" He lets out a brief laugh and just blurts out, "I have a crush on you, would you go out with me?" Even though I knew that was coming, I was still in shock. I slowly nodded my head up and down. He happily hugged me, grabbing my hand and walked me to 12th Street like he always had. Except he stopped me a few times on the way. He was trying to get a moment to kiss me. I wasn't sure if I was ready yet. I was nervous. After all, it would be my first kiss. He stops me for a fourth time and my mind just screams, "Just go for it. It's gotta happen sometime." His face comes close to mine for one of the most awkward kisses of my life. I wouldn't say it's the worst kiss, but just a hecka awkward. But I just want to state, I don't think it was anyone's fault. I believe it was both of our first kisses. We both didn't know what to do or how to do it, so we just kind of stood there, lips pressed together for what felt like an eternity. As soon as I finally pulled away to stop the awkward kiss, he went right in again for another one. It was a bit painful. We finally got to 12th Street and we parted ways. The week went by and I invited Devin over with some of my friends. We were gonna play rock band. As we enter my room, I take a seat on my bed. He sits next to me, Violet next to me, along with Penny and Ann on the floor. My other two friends, Nat and Sarah, are there as well. So this room is packed with my friends. I decide to lean back against the wall. He follows suit and does so too. Everyone is talking to each other when I notice Devin's hands slowly creep up my shirt, underneath my shirt. He starts groping my chest. I sat in a frozen silence. I didn't know what to do. All I know is that I wasn't comfortable. It was too soon for this. And it's in front of all my friends. Why would he think that's okay? I try kicking towards Violet. She takes it as I want them to leave the room. She gets up to go out to the living room. I try to get Penny's attention. For her as well. Thinks I'm asking for privacy, so they all follow suit and walk out of the room. I'm in major panic mode when his phone goes off. His hand slips out from under my shirt to answer it. Ugh, I gotta go. My sisters need to be picked up. He pecks a kiss on my cheek and heads out. I sit in a frozen mess on my bed, feeling violated. Now, it might seem like an overreaction, but we were only dating for a week. Let alone, we didn't even go out on an actual date yet. This was my first boyfriend, hence my first feel-up that wasn't invited or initiated. I wasn't prepared, there was no warnings that was gonna happen. I begin to cry where all my friends come racing into the room. I tell them what happened when all my friends said they didn't even notice his hand went up my shirt. Penny was pissed, going on and on about how she would have stopped it if she only noticed. They all felt bad, trying to make me laugh and cheer up. I was thankful to have my friends there for me. The next day, Devin was there waiting at my locker like usual. I give him the cold shoulder. He has no clue what's wrong. I can't believe you did that to me, in front of all my friends no less. He stood in a silence as I continued. I didn't want that. You did that without my permission. You didn't say anything. I was scared. Plus, what type of girl do you think I am, wanting to put on a show for my friends by getting felt up in front of them? He stood there not knowing what to say. I want to break up. I was too disgusted with him. Things were moving way too fast, plus the added tension of people who eyed us up in the hallway because of our age difference. See, in high school dramas, you always see the girls like, oh, I'm dating a senior, and all the other girls idolize her or envy her for the fact, where in real life they just think you're a tramp. Wait, no, I don't want that. Give me a second chance. I'm sorry. No. We are done. Don't talk to me. I stalked off, leaving him there. I know it might seem harsh, but everything was just way too much for me, and I thought maybe I should wait on relationships for a little while longer. The next few days, he would constantly wait by my locker, leave notes in my locker about giving him a second chance and that he was sorry. I ignored all of it, just wanting everything to go away. At band, his friend, let's call him Jerry, came up to talk to me. You know, it's your fault he did that to you, Jerry said, a fellow senior who played trumpet in the band. What? My fault? I can see he was ready to lecture me. Yeah, you gave him all the signs. What signs? Oh, look, all my friends are around me. Let's go to second base. He said you leaned back against the bed. You were clearly giving him the go-ahead. No, I was not. I was just laying on my bed, surrounded by my friends. There's no way I was asking for it. Give the guy a second chance. It's your fault he made that mistake. Angrily, I walked off, not wanting to finish the conversation, let alone not wanting to give him a second chance. The next day, he asked me to prom and a note. I tell him not a chance in heck, and to leave me alone or I'll report him to the vice principal for harassment. He finally leaves me alone. From then on out, it's just awkward encounters where I totally ignore his presence. The year goes by and he graduates. By this time, I've graduated high school and have moved to Pennsylvania with my best friend Anne to start our journey through college. If you want to hear my story on this, click the link above and it will fill in some holes to this story. Anywho, I'm on Facebook where I see I have a new friend request. I see it's from Devin. My heart fluttered a bit as I thought back to what happened years ago. I saw things differently now. I've been through a slew of different relationships and realized I was young and not ready for a relationship. To let the things of the past be forgotten, I accepted the friend request and we wound up talking for hours on Messenger. We exchanged Skype names and found ourselves talking on there for hours as well. Anne started to take notice that I was finding an interest in him again. I invited him to play Mario Kart with me and one of my best male friends, let's call him Jonas. The three of us became good friends and we would all hang out in a group often to play Mario Kart. The one day, joined by Anne, the four of us was playing Truth or Dare. A trap set up by Anne and I to try to see if Devin would confess to having a crush on me again. So it gets to Devin's turn after all the silly questions that lead up to the more serious ones. Anne goes, Truth or Dare? He says, Truth. Anne makes an evil face with a slight snicker. Okay, do you have a crush on anyone? He hesitates, making up someone that he has a crush on at work. Anne presses forward. You're lying, we all know it. He pauses again. I could see his mind racing with pros and cons of if he should say it or not. He finally says, Fine, I have a crush on Pinkley, again. I'm beaming ear to ear and the situation gets a bit awkward. Fine, to make everyone not awkward, let's ask Jonas too. Jonas raises his voice saying, "I have a crush on Pink League too, damn it." He hangs up the call, leaving the three of us in an awkward silence. You could say that little friend group didn't hang out anymore and Jonas went MIA for a while. Since Devin confessed, I confessed too, but we weren't going out or anything. More of the mutual we like each other and we'll see where this goes because you're in Jersey and I'm in Pennsylvania. One time, Devin took Anne's boyfriend at the time, Ronnie, and my best friend Violet along with Mark up to our home in Pennsylvania. They spent the day where Devin and I cuddled, but nothing further than that, played video games, and they headed back to Jersey. We texted a lot. We even visited Jersey a lot, where I would meet up with my friends and Devin. Every time he'd run up to me, hugging me, spinning me around in his arms. That night we kissed, and it wasn't like the first time we had. Things felt like they were going perfect. Only it wasn't. Anne and I weren't getting along as perfect anymore, and I had this guy back from Pennsylvania in college bothering me about dating him. To hear all about that guy, check out the video link above. That one is a crazy story for sure. We still weren't in an established relationship, even though each time we saw each other we had fun. But the distance killed it a lot, and the fact that Anne was becoming distant and Jonas refused to come around because I was thinking of dating Devin really took a toll on me, and I had to make a tough decision of, did I really want to be in a long-distance relationship? I saw Anne and Ronnie going through it, and it seemed like their worlds were crumbling apart. I didn't want that to happen to me and Devin, especially since I loved having him as a friend too. The one week we came down to support our former bandmates in their band competition. I was sitting next to Anne and leaning back on Devin when all of a sudden my ex Rob showed up. If you don't know about this ex, go ahead and hear his story up here. Anyway, he sat right next to Devin even though the two hated each other and tried striking up a conversation to piss me off. The whole situation was tense. And to make matters worse, a guy I knew from my college back in Pennsylvania, and Melvin's friend, the guy who was desperately trying to get me to date him, showed up. He sat with us to watch, and behind my back told Melvin to give up on me because I was flirting around with a guy over here. Which started to drive a wedge in the new friend group I made back in Pennsylvania, and caused Melvin to treat me like utter crap. We were sitting in Devin's car where he turns and asks, "Are we going to become a thing or..." It was silent. I wanted to so badly, but everything was falling apart from underneath me. I also thought it unfair that he would always constantly have to drive the PA for me and vice versa. It would be hard. Plus, Ronnie and Anne was at the brink of breaking up for it. The distance would be hard. The silence told me he agreed with me. Probably why he didn't bring up this conversation until now. If only I didn't leave Jersey. Yeah, he says sadly, as we sit in the car knowing fully well where this conversation's going. Let's just stay friends. I of course want you in my life. He slightly smiles and nods his head. I'd like that. When we headed back to Pennsylvania, I cried on my bed for a while because I knew things weren't going to be the way we said. We both stopped talking to the other. Not out of anger or anything like that, just because we probably knew it would hurt each other to keep acting as friends and go on with our lives normally when we had such feelings for each other. We still have each other as friends on Facebook, and I see that he's living his life happily. That's all I could ask for. I'm really happy I had the experiences I had with Devin because he really was an amazing friend to me. He lifted me up when I was down, would talk me through some rough patches that I had, and would be there even though he was a state away. He really tried, as did I, but it just wasn't in the works for us. I sure hope he is really happy and meeting all the goals that he wanted in his life today, and hope he has a girl or will find a girl that will make him feel as special as he should. And if he's watching this, I just want to say the past is the past, and our relationship that we did have was something I look back on and smile about. For once, not such a negative end to a relationship I had. If you guys enjoyed this heartbreak video, go check out my other ones. They aren't as cheery as this one though. Leave a like down below if you'd like to hear more stories like this, and don't forget to comment and of course subscribe. It really helps my channel succeed. Thank you so much for all of your support, and I shall see you next time. Bye bye!